What was supposed to be a regular shopping trip for Michelina Lewandowska ended up in the worst situation possible. In 2011, Michelina was preparing to go on a supposed shopping trip with her former fiancé, Marcin Kasprzak, who is also the father of her child. However, Marcin showed up at her home with a teenage friend, Patrick Boris, and proceeded to shoot Michelina with a stun gun. The 300,000-volt electric current was enough to incapacitate Michelina, and it was then that the two men bound and gagged her with tape. Marcin and Michelina's relationship had ended, and Marcin wanted custody of their son, so he decided to take action the illegal way. Marcin and Patrick placed Michelina inside a cardboard box while she was bound to ensure she wouldn't escape her grave in the forest. Michelina recalls hearing the two men digging and then soil falling over the box that she was in. She realized that she was being buried alive. Michelina thought of her young son and how he would grow up without a mother if she didn't make it out alive. The only thing that she had on her that could help her escape was, ironically, something that Marcin gave her. Welcome back to True Stories. Join our family in exploring some of the most twisted true crime cases. As always, don't forget to give the video a thumbs up and subscribe. Now, let's get into it. Michelina Lewandowska met Marcin Kasprzak in Poland in 2005 and they were engaged 1 year later. The happy couple moved to England to begin their lives together. In 2008, Michelina became pregnant with the couple's first child. The relationship hit a rocky point and the couple called off their engagement but stayed together as a couple. By 2011, the relationship was irreconcilable. Marcin no longer cared to rekindle the romance he once shared with Michelina. She was unhappy and told him she and their 3-year-old son were moving back home to Poland. Marcin wouldn't allow that to happen. On May 28, 2011, Marcin asked Michelina to accompany him and his friend, 18-year-old Patrick Boris, on a shopping spree. Though surprised he invited her, Michelina accepted the invitation, hopeful he would tell her he had a change of heart and wanted to work things out. Michelina hurried to the bathroom to primp for the reconciliation. As she walked out of the bathroom, Marcin and Patrick stood at the door. Marcin grabbed Michelina's arm and told her, "I want to show you something." He pulled a 300,000-volt stun gun out of his pocket and tased the woman. Michelina fell to the floor. Marcin, a 224-pound bodybuilder, put his knees on her chest to hold her down. Michelina cried and asked Marcin if he planned to kill her. He told Michelina, "Don't be scared," then called to Patrick to get the packing tape. The men gagged and bound Michelina by her wrists and ankles. They taped her mouth shut, placed her against a wall and again tased her. The men left Michelina bound and gagged for several hours. The men then dragged Michelina into a kitchen and placed her inside a cardboard box. Marcin taped the box shut as Michelina screamed. Marcin looked at her and said, "I've hated you for 4 years, you'll never see your son again." Marcin and Patrick placed the cardboard box into the trunk of Patrick's vehicle and drove to Huddersfield, West Yorkshire, where they placed Michelina inside the box into a shallow, pre-dug grave. They placed an 88-pound log over her to ensure she did not escape. Michelina lay in the box terrified as she heard the men shoveling dirt on top of the grave. Suddenly, the noises stopped, but Michelina wasn't sure if the men were gone, but fearful she would suffocate, began trying to dig her way out of the grave. Thinking of her son, Jacob, Michelina began taking slow, shallow breaths. Trying to think of some way to get out, Michelina noticed a diamond engagement ring Marcin used to propose to her on her finger. Using the edges of the ring, Michelina cut the tape off her mouth, legs and wrists. She cut the cardboard, eventually tearing it off of her, though dirt fell on top of her face. Michelina screamed but no one was around. Determined to survive, Michelina continued slashing around with the ring, freeing an arm, then her head and her body. She pushed away the log. After almost 1 hour in the cardboard box, Michelina was free. She climbed out of the grave and crawled to the road, where she flagged down a motorist who called police. Michelina took police to the grave McInn buried her in, still alive, before she was transported to a local hospital for treatment of her injuries. Imagine the surprise Marcin felt when police knocked on his door a few hours later, warrants on attempted murder and kidnapping in hand. Police found chemicals and instructions for making explosives and bombs in the home when they executed a search of the home. Marcin and Patrick were taken into custody. Authorities later discovered the men used Michelina's ATM card to withdraw cash shortly after burying the woman alive. At trial, Marcin stated he did not intend to kill Michelina, only scare her, a defense quickly rejected by the jury. Marcin was found guilty of attempted murder and kidnapping and sentenced to 20 years in prison. He was also found guilty on charges of possessing explosives and sentenced to 4 life terms on those charges. Patrick was acquitted of attempted murder but convicted of kidnapping. He was sentenced to 4.5 years in prison. We've come to the end, thank you for watching. Don't forget to give the video a thumbs up and subscribe. Till next time.